Let me help you shake the worries off my technique is cool, girl. Come on, let me show you. Stand right here and move your body. I won't ignore any place that make your mama bad, baby. Girl, don't get it done. I'm just a laid back guy. Go ask your mama for my kind. I'm gonna do my best, baby. Hey, I'm touching tonight. I'm the one that makes you I'm touching tonight. Yeah, you know what to do now. Hands up, drinks in the air. We're cool now. Banging on your radio since 19 ooh wow. Yes, that's a mighty long time to get you down, but we still at it with much less static. Dwelling and Quista, it's so automatic. And you can't catch us, we do acrobatics. He's R&B's best kept secret, and I'm magic. And I've been playing 21 since I was 14. Babysitting chicken heads, look at you, poor thing. You gotta get up and leave now, or cook chicken wings or something if you think that you're gonna make it.
All right, I had to hurry up. Valerie, look, we'd have been going. That's the extended version.
Man, I'm telling you.
Hey, good afternoon to my lovely people. Welcome to Brown Skin, the clear and uncut conversations about us. And you guys, you're going to get familiar with him because this is my guy right here. We got K, I keep saying kheru, but he said you got to roll the tongue, and I'm telling you, I just can't get that right. I'm going to get the phone number out here. So get a pencil and a piece of paper and jot it down, 515-602-9667. Can't get through there, 614-524-5328. And y'all got to just get in where you fit in. That's it. All right, and share this video if you guys are watching live in plain view. That's today's topic. In plain view. All the things that's going on, they are doing right in our faces. So there was a time, and I'm talking about everything, how we have been wronged. And y'all know I'm a positive person, so we gonna try to find the positivity in it. But y'all know what it is, and we keeps it real right here. And I do not believe in invisible shackles, nor do I believe in physical shackles. So you can speak your mind and say what it is that you want to say, but remember to always say something. So what up, kheru? Did I get it right?
Yes, Mel. That was perfect.
That was better, all right.
Yes. What's happening? How was your day?
All right, what'd you say?
I said, how was your day today?
My day was pretty cool. It was a Monday, a good Monday though. I'm on this side of the dirt. On this side of the dirt, doing it in. Let me hurry up because we got an hour show. We're gonna talk about different topics, and matter of fact, let's just roll with it and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right. So we all know Georgia doing something special. They can change the laws in Georgia. You guys have to look that up for yourselves. I am a firm believer of checking it out for yourself. Fact check yourself. Don't believe everything that we say, because remember, I base all of my platforms off of opinions. You know what I mean? Opinions and how you feel. So everybody's allowed to feel the way that they want to feel, okay? When they want to feel it. But the Georgia law, I believe the governor, he went on ahead and signed into effect where they can, actually it's how do you put this? There's new laws in effect where, you know, how we had early voting, and early voting could take place for, you know, for a minute. I always voted on the last day. That's what Rue always told me, my co-host on ShopTalkwithmel, because I like all the hustle and bustle. I like all of that. So they have different drop box areas. They have a problem with souls to the polls where they have busing and all that, where they would take people to go vote. And they have it where it's illegal. This is the part that got me. It's illegal to give people water that's in line to vote.
What? Illegal water? What is that?
That's what I'm saying. So you could go a bum on the street, you could get him water. But if I'm in line to vote, you can't give me water. Do you remember when President Barack Obama was being elected, how long the lines were? People was handing out water and all that. People were being Americans. And go ahead.
Well, hold on now. We can't have no marathons then. Don't they get water on the sideline?
Right. You brought up a good point. Right. So it's okay for us to just randomly like give a bum on the street some water, somebody walking, here you go. But if you are in the line to vote, it is illegal. Now tell me if that's not in plain view.
Oh, this is the first time I'm hearing that. I haven't heard that. I don't even know how to think upon that. Like, what did they say what the issue was? As far as like giving water, like what's the problem with giving water?
The problem is we showed up and showed out, and the black vote is important. That's where the problem is at. And there is no issue behind it. It didn't hold the line up. It didn't do any of that. But you guys got to check into that and see what's going on. They're upset with, remember the Abrams girl? I'll tell you what happened. It flipped. And I can't stand politics, but I got to let y'all know what's going on. It flipped from a red state to a blue state, and that's where the problem's at. And it's like, okay, how do we prevent this from happening again? Because it is us brown-skinned people who wouldn't get out and vote. But this time, brown-skinned people got out and voted and made a change and made a difference. And that's where the issue is. So that's what they were talking about, the whole Jim Crow and all that stuff. So you guys check that out. Check that out. Now let's move on to this part in plain view. Another Georgia incident. An Alabama fire chief, he has property in Georgia, and it was for sale. Brown real estate agents and contractors, they were showing the house. He happened to be in town, and he pulled the gun on him. And he was arrested and stayed overnight in jail. And his attorney was like, this is ridiculous. He had grounds to pull the gun on them. And it was like they were showing the house. I don't understand. What's really going on? It's just open season. It's open season. And it's like now, before, it was hidden. And then to me, I just feel like once 45 got into the place, then they just like, okay, we all out, but I'm glad to know who I'm dealing with and who I'm not dealing with, honestly. So that's what happened to the Georgia man, the fire chief of Alabama. He pulled a gun out and they said it was justified. And he said he thought they were robbers. How? Your house is for sale. It's a real estate agent. I'm just confused. The next one. In plain view, George Floyd trial is coming about. Now, that particular trial that's happening, it is definitely going to shape America. Shape or reshape. What's your thoughts on that? You got the floor.
Man. George Floyd, we got so many things to witness, all kind of events and stuff like that, especially with these cameras everywhere. I don't understand how a camera could record an act and they would go and take that footage and what they call it, investigate or doctor it up to make it seem like something other than what the actual camera showed. So that's right in plain sight. I don't get how, the world is watching this and there's no way around it. That officer was on him way too long. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. So right in our face, it's telling me that we're still being murdered by clannish type people, if you will, without the hoodie and all that crap. You know what I mean? So
in plain view.
Plain view. The question is how do we safeguard ourselves? What do we do? as brown skinned people, you know what I mean? We can only do so much. So what needs to happen with this whole incident is that they need to hold that officer accountable, period, point blank. Because if not, you already know what's going to happen. They're going to tear up. Because 8 minutes on somebody's neck, and then they want to talk about underlying health conditions. Okay, let's say he did have those underlying health conditions. What caused those conditions to even come was the fact that the officer had his knee on his neck, period, point blank.
Made it worse.
Period, point blank. There's no way around it. Like you added, what do they call it? Added insult to injury. His injuries were what? His underlying health conditions. You got the man in a panic. You know, everybody don't take well to being restrained. Okay. And that was part of the problem, that he probably just freaked out. You know what I mean? All the stuff that's been going on with us is, you know, anybody get pulled over, they got brown skin, we're going to be feeling some kind of way, period.
And you know what? That's interesting that you brought that up, because that's what I actually, you know, I do my own census, my own stats. You know, when they say that high blood pressure run in African-American males, I said, listen here. As a brown-skinned female, knowing my stuff is legit, when I see the police, I automatically stiffen up or become tensed. And that contributes to high blood pressure. Now, of a brown-skinned man, I can only imagine. I went to, growing up, I went to my second half. First half, I was, you know, at Covington and then half Hayes. And then I went to predominantly white school. It was a few of us in there. I watched with my eyes. Mr. Kish was the teacher. Didn't understand it at the time, but understand it now. And I can say his name. I don't even know where he at because I saw him mistreat a brown man. I didn't have it like, you know, I didn't have it like that because I guess I was no threat. I was a female. So it was just, I would just sit there and I was in class, but I saw how rude and ignorant he was to this particular guy. We still cool to this day. And I'm like, why is he so mean to him? This, and we're talking 7th and 8th grade. So I didn't see that yet. And then I went to the high school and it was probably about like 14 of us. Now it's like predominantly Black. But it was probably like 14 of us in there. And that's when it opened my eyes to a whole nother, and I said it, whole nother level. And it was like, whoa, this is off the hook. So being a Black man in America, being a brown skinned person in America, you have that plight. So you have a valid point. So now you, and I'm already handcuffed. So you're already restrained. Mm-hmm. What was the purpose? What was the purpose? And what I saw, you know, you saw the knee on his neck. And, you know, there's a saying, get your foot off my neck. He had his knee, it's a bony prominence. So that can cut off circulation, okay? What I saw viewing the video was, because it was, you know, a lot of our brothers were being murdered at the hand of white police officers. And not all of them, but I'm gonna say this because it's brown skin and I say what I said, okay? I said they probably had some type of KKK meeting, that's me. I said, they must have had a meeting and they have to kill Black people like initiation. This is my thoughts, okay? I said, because this is nuts. When he had his knee on his neck, he looked into the camera. Is that your trophy? You know, some people put like, they hunt, they put their deer heads up there. That's what I, and I'm looking at this and I said, and he don't even care. It's in plain view. Everybody's watching. He's saying he can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You got other people around you. Listen, saying nothing is approval. I wouldn't expect anybody in the crowd to go in. They're like, oh, I would have ran over there. They want to kill you, Black man. They want to kill you. So boom, you're charging the police reason to be killed. And unfortunately, he was the sacrificial lamb, even though we had a whole bunch of George Floyds, a whole bunch of them. But at that moment, I saw, looky here, I done killed the nigga in plain sight. That's what I saw. And when he looked, I said, oh, they're gonna blow up his picture and put it in the KKK headquarters. That's me, what I saw. I was like, this is crazy, right in plain view. The reason I think George Floyd was so noticed is because we had the pandemic. Everybody had to stop, stay home, and watch. So we weren't.
That makes it even worse.
That's what makes it worse, but that makes you aware of what's really going on. Because just think, if we were still moving, it would have been like, you know, after, you know, with George Moore, we heard a little bit about the Tamir Rice in Cleveland, the young boy with the fake gun. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, that's not right. We march a little bit, here you go. And then business as usual, because they always say, oh yeah, you know, brown skin people, we always forgiven. And we don't have to worry about the fight. That's why they were so fearful of the Black Lives Matter movement. It was like, oh, wait a minute. We all had to watch and see what has been going on forever. And a lot of white people were able to watch and see and be like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is what you were talking about. Yeah, he blatantly killed this man. What did you see when you watched the video? What did you see?
Man, I mean, Mel, you just explained it perfectly. When you put it in that context, it seemed like, you know, when the guy looked at the camera, he was like saying, you know, hey, I got me one, you know. Man, it's just so sad to see that type of person who's sworn in to uphold the law and protect and serve. And, you know, it's one thing when you got cuffs on you that's too tight, okay? Officer, the cuffs is too tight. But when you got your knee on somebody's neck and they tell you they can't breathe, what should that officer be thinking? But anything but taking his knee off the guy's neck. He could have readjusted himself. So that alone, he made no attempt to even slightly move his knee to where the guy could breathe a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's what makes it even more in your face. Like, you intended to squeeze out his every breath. There's a thing in martial arts, and I'm not gonna say this always apply, but when it talks about fighting, it talks about bone against flesh. So if you can kind of picture that, so the bony parts of your body that may strike fleshy parts has a different reaction because it's just flesh and the nerves are unprotected. You know what I mean? So a knee on a soft neck, okay? He meant to kill him. I mean, how else can we say it? And as far as being politically correct, we got to stop being politically correct. That's what I think they mean when they go back and say, we're going to investigate. When we see right in plain sight, there's really no need for no investigation. The camera is investigating the whole entire act. What are you going back behind closed doors to re-investigate what? So they're spin doctors. They like to put spins on things. And then, you know, they're going into this man's past life. That has nothing to do with the here and now. You know, that has nothing to do with it. So it's just like, man, they murdered him. I'm charging all for it because as a fellow officer, if you had sense, you should have been like, hold up, you got to get up off his neck. Come on now. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, they helped assist in the murder of George Floyd, period, point blank. They might have not been on his neck, but they were restraining him as well. You know what I mean? Yep. Causing more tension, causing more stress. So it was a murder, hands down.
Yep, that's what I believe. 110% accomplice. Why is it that somebody can go in and rob a store and that person that's going to rob the store gets killed? And if you're with that person, they charge that person that's with that person with the murder and they didn't even kill them. Somebody else shot them. But since you were going to do this deed, boom, we charging both of y'all. And that's why I'm like, it's unfair. It's been unfair forever. And this particular trial, it's like, I don't, yes, I do. What is that saying? And I know I'm messing it up. Is it something about evolution? Something with an evolution, the way to kind of do an evolution is a revolution or something to I've heard, and I can't remember what it is, but this
okay, I'm not familiar with that.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it in a few minutes. I'm gonna have somebody pull that up for me. And then I'll be able to say it, but I don't, you don't want to cause harm or start a riot or a war, but it's mighty interesting. Speaking of that, when the insurrection at the White House, some of the fine people, but the person inside, you inside the White House hiding on your knees, nervous wreck with whole armor on, talking about something you weren't afraid, and they killed a police officer, and you still picking those up. I ain't forgot, so don't y'all forget, because they like to think that we forget everything. And you were more afraid of Black Lives Matter. They got mace bombed and everything with nothing. Matter of fact, they got sprayed for 45 to walk across the street and take a picture in front of the church with the Bible upside down. But people that's up here climbing the walls like Mario Brothers or a video game, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
man,
it's crazy. And how do people not see that?
You know what, Mel? People see it, but they choose to ignore it. And I don't know, why people ignore things like that. Maybe it's because they feel that they can't make a difference in changing something like that. So, why even bother? I'm act like, it ain't what it is. You know what I mean?
Hey, this younger generation out there, you see them.
Man.
They're out there, but then you got people, then they're afraid. Like, okay, so it's a whole lot of Karens. So you out here, you starting all the trouble, and then you're afraid when somebody speaks out, then then you're the victim. Sharon Osbourne, air quotes, I use that for the listening audience. You make it, you make a valid point. You're like, to you is, valid. Everybody's point is their own. Where she backed Piers Morgan on a racial comment on the talk. Yeah, follow me. I skip around a lot. And then when she got the backlash, Sharon Osbourne got the backlash from it, she became the victim. And that's what's happening. So don't close your eyes to it, but it keeps happening. Kheru, it keeps happening.
So Mel, like, I don't know what to do besides speak up, because, and even speaking up, we've been speaking up for, how long? Forever, seems like, with these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I really don't have an answer. I'm kind of dumbfounded as to how do we resolve or how do we stop these incidences from happening, because it just seems like, we all know the issues, we all know the problems, but the solutions aren't being implemented and practiced. So, man, it's so difficult. This America that we live in, and I'm going to say this, Mel, okay, but there's a problem with the Confederate flag, okay? They had, statues took down south and flags, and listen, no, keep that stuff up, okay? Because first and foremost, that gives me a clear indicator of who don't like me. And if I know you don't like me, put up signs. We don't like your kind around here, and I'm gonna take my little brown skin and go elsewhere. I'm not even trying to force my way into a society or to a group of people or area that don't like me. I mean, that's ridiculous, for one. And then, on top of that, George Floyd and many others like him have died not under a Confederate flag, but under the flag of the United States of America. I have more issue with that flag than I do with a Confederate flag. I'm not saying don't acknowledge the Confederate flag, but this American flag that has so much significance and so much meaning of, you know, being the land of the free, home of the brave, and, you know, you got freedoms and stuff like that. But then, you know, that flag also shows a level of failure when it comes to brown-skinned people and them being justified. So right now, you know, I got a big problem with the American flag. Now, am I suggesting going burning the flag? No. But a lot of people like, oh, the Confederate. I don't even give a damn about that flag, because right in our plain view, we have an American flag, red, white, and blue, star-spangled banner, that's allowing different systems to get away with murder.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mel. I don't know. It's man, this topic right here is very, very confusing, because I think we have answers, but the answers that we try to implement and try to give falls on deaf ears, such as the political people. You know, that's why I'm kind of like hands off with political issues, because I know the game and they like to be politically. What's that?
Politics. That's what I call it.
Man, the politics, and it's like right in your face. Like, you trying to tell me that that's not an A? That's an A. They want an A to look like a F or something. No, that's an A. They spin stuff, and then it's just like you throw your hands up like we can't win. So,
you know what?
We got answers.
I say exactly what you were saying. We have to keep talking, but you brought back a memory for me. I ain't gonna tell y'all what year. Well, I can't even remember what year. I was in the 3rd grade. Never forget this. I went to Covington School, 3rd grade, and I always listened to what I was saying. My mother always said, even like the music, listen to the words that you are singing. You know, the rap game coming out, listen to the words that you are saying. What are you saying? And remember, we used to have to do the Pledge of Allegiance in school. And I was in the 3rd grade, and I would not say it once I listened to what I was saying. 3rd grade, I was 8. And I had a Black teacher, her name was Miss Young. And she kind of was like chastising me to make me say the Pledge of Allegiance. And she never asked me why. So then she took me down, because, you know, you used to get paddled in school. She took me to the principal. And I'm sure he's passed on. Mr. DeVanzio was the principal at the time, short white guy. He said, Melanie, why won't you say the Pledge of Allegiance? He asked me the Pledge of Allegiance. I said, because I don't believe it. He said, hon, I said, there is no justice for all. Now, I'm a little girl from the projects, but there was no justice for all. 3rd grade I was in. They took it out of the school too. You know, they like, okay, you don't have to say it anymore, you know. But what I learned at that moment, and I love my people, what I learned at that moment was somebody cared to ask me why. And they didn't look like me. But the one that looked like me was so controlled over order and the way things were supposed to be, that it was and she was teaching me, I guess, what she knew. This is what you have to do to survive. You have to. I didn't realize that in the 3rd grade. I realized that probably in high school. I was like, wow, being brainwashed or being told what you have to do. There was no land of the free. In that moment, she was not free. Now I stood, so it was, okay, can you stand? So there was a compromise. Well, can you stand? I said, I can stand. But I wasn't going to say a word because I didn't believe it. And all was well. But like I said, eventually they took that out, but I was in the 3rd grade. And I'm like, this is really interesting. And like I said, as I got older, I looked, and she was an older teacher, an older Black teacher. And it was, this is the way things are supposed to be. So you need to adapt instead of being free. And it's like, that's why I'm like, man, this is deep. So when you said that, it brought me back to that memory. And it was like, here I am, a little girl, like, no, that flag, you want me to stand up and pledge and put my hand over my heart for something that I truly don't believe. So when Colin Kaepernick did his thing, I felt for it. And then and it's amazing amazing how you have all the stuff that's going on, but the part that they didn't like the best, follow me, was a Black man giving them utmost respect, because kneeling is a form of respect. So he kneeled for the flag and you hated that the best. How peaceful can you get? No weapon, nothing. You kneel down during the national anthem, and then they all sons of bees. But you got people, like I said, being little Mario Brothers video games, climbing up, coming in there with big, weapons and everything else, and they're good people. So why, white people, I know y'all listening, help us understand.
Man, please. I got some questions for him.
Why?
Some questions.
Yeah. We got to get, man, I need to get some of my little white people on here that's
like
going to
for real
100. And
man,
it's
for real. Yeah.
We got to get some on here. We got to get some. And I got a few friends. And what did it say? Oh, I have a white friend. I'm not racist. I call her up. Come here. I need you to tell me this.
Right.
But
Mel, look, I mean, listen, that's one of my biggest things. I want to ask them questions from my own personal data bank of how they feel about certain things. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't want to prejudge, or I don't want to put words or feelings in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I want to hear from them how they feel about what's going on, because they also turn the other cheek or look the other way at times. I'm not saying all white people, but there's a lot of them that do. And this is like, hold on, Mel. If we need anybody to speak up more, it's white people, because obviously us as being brown skinned people, they're not giving us that due respect. And then sometimes they won't even give their own that due respect, because, oh, you trying to support those blacks or those browns over there?
Your white
privilege
is going to be gone. It's going to be taken.
Right. You're a race traitor. And it's like, man, come on, y'all.
And you have some, like, the march with Martin Luther King, you have a lot in the Black Lives Matter movement that's coming out, but I really want to know the truth. And you have, I'm gonna have to call a few of mine, and I know they're not racist, but I need to understand. And I know they ain't somebody in their family.
No, listen. No.
Go ahead.
We can't listen. We got to get racist people if they're willing to talk.
Because if they're willing to talk, that's it.
It's the non-racist white people. I don't got a problem with them. Okay? It's the people who don't like me for whatever reason due to my race. I want to question them. If they're willing to be questioned, because I know some of them will be intimidated by questions, because they know that the questions that probably going to be asked to them are going to be questions that make sense. And since they're so low on intelligence and full of hate, they're not even going to be able to answer the question. They just want to hate. But I want a racist person. I don't want no.
Y'all got all my contact information. Is easy peasy. Shop Talk with Mel. At Shop Talk with Mel.
Hey, look. You got to word. Hey, look. You got to word it like this. Like, racist wanted.
Yeah.
If you're a racist person, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. If you're racist, I don't know, but I ain't gonna pay no racist person to talk. But if I had some money, I would pay a racist person. I'm gonna pay you a minimum wage to talk to me for an hour or 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? I do need to put that on there. The only thing is, we got to make sure they don't get mad and leave off. That's why I said some of my friends, because let's be real, you have a lot of people who have family members or fathers that are racist, and they brought their daughters up, and their daughter have mixed children, and the father don't talk to them anymore because they got a black child. Which brings us to our next topic. Let's talk about.
Man, that's crazy. Protected the white gene. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, listen. Denounce everybody. You got what? Bye, you're done. You out. You're like, dang, what did I do? Hold on. But let's talk about the Black mothers, brown skinned mothers. Shall we? You start.
Yes. Oh man, you know what? So I personally, I don't know what's going on in everybody's household, but from interacting with women, being in the barber shop and just wherever, I'm under the impression, and I don't want to generalize too extremely, but
for the sake of
it seems like mothers, okay. I think women need to educate themselves a little more when it comes to the raising of a male and a female, okay? Mothers have a way with words that resonate a little bit more heavier than fathers' words, okay? Now, I'm not denouncing or not knocking myself as being a dad, but it's just something about the woman when she, give you an example. Moms have a way, man, you know what? I can't speak for a woman. I'm just going to say y'all powerful.
Something that you heard in your years of life that you're like, dang, and it hit you and it wasn't towards you, but it hit you, at home, hit your heart. Man, Mel, like I know it, but it's hard for me to explain it. I see it. Hold on. I see it as power. That's the only way I can kind of explain what you all have as being females. Your power is a lot different than that of a male's. When you guys are serious, when you all stand firm on what you feel, when you express it, it definitely holds more weight and more power. I can't explain what it is, but a learned woman, when it comes to teaching a child, I think has more of an impression due to the fact that that's a female, that's my mom, and we tend to give our moms a lot more respect than we do our fathers. Not to say that we disrespect our fathers, but we kind of get big chested with our dads, but sometimes when it comes from a woman, we humble ourselves. So you all are more humbling in our presence, if I can state it that way. That makes sense. That makes sense. Mothers are nurturers. Fathers are providers. Mama's boys, daddy's girls. Boys tend to respect their mother more than their father, just as you said, and this is just me reading. Girls need the love of their father more than they do their mother. Believe it or not, and I know you've heard it, mothers and daughters go head to head. It's called the 13-year-old blues. That's what my mother called it. The 13-year-old blues, because that's when the girls tend to be like, hold up. And then, you're the mother in there. It's like, whoa, wait a second. And then, watching, usually the fathers, like you just said, boys tend to put their chest out at their father. They becoming a man. The girls becoming a female. And it's like, hold on. There is something to that. But I will say, and I want to know your thoughts on this. Single mothers using their children as pawns. Single mothers, whereas you have a father who wants to be active and she uses her child, as a carrot dangler. What do you have to say to that mother? As a father?
Do you see how powerful that is? They will make it so hard for a male to see his children. If she says she don't want no parts, man, we got to jump through some serious loops. Okay. I think that comes from a woman who may have been hurt and holding grudges against the male. Okay. I think that shouldn't be done due to the fact that it took both parents to create the child. Now, as long as that father is being a parent, he should be allowed. okay? The problem comes with the mother not wanting the child to be with the parent or be with the father is due to the fact that she's holding a grudge. She have to let that grudge go because we both have duties to raise this child. So it has to be understood that no matter what you feel towards the person or the father, you have to, by all means, if that person is a good dad, and I ain't talking about no knucklehead dads, the good dads who want to be a part of their children's life, man, you got to let them do it. I mean, because it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire.
That's that.
It's going to backfire.
That's that hurt people, but the person that gets hurt is the child.
Right. And that's the backfiring part, because the child's going to grow up and see, okay, my mom ain't letting me see my dad because blah, blah, blah. My dad actually ain't a good person. So they're going to start looking at the mom like, well, I think it's your problem. And then they're going to bump heads like, why are you disallowing me to spend time and be with my father because you got a problem with him? Like, I want to see my dad. Eventually, the child is going to make that decision.
You know what? Yeah, and they will. As a female, these are my thoughts. You don't want your child's father anywhere. You don't want your child to be around your child's father. And we're talking about the people that's okay, not somebody that's putting the child in harm's way, because safety first. First of all, never talk bad about your child's parent, regardless. And this is my thoughts, call me selfish or whatever. Because what you are teaching your child is that you make bad decisions. And you will have that child thinking that they were a bad decision. I had a child with this person. When you are dating someone that's other than your child's father, mama's boys, daddy's girls, I'm telling you, if you are a single father and you are raising your daughter, you have to ask yourself, do I mind my daughter becoming this lady? Because your daughter is going to mimic what the dad likes. Same thing with the son. If you are a single parent and you have a son and you're dating these guys, you got to watch what you do too. You can talk to you blue in the face that, oh, what it say? Do as I say, not as I do. That stuff is out the door because they're going to do exactly what you're doing. And if you are dating a guy, only date people that you don't mind your son becoming, because he's going to. And everybody finds their role model. And if you find, let's be real, I can look at somebody right now, honestly, I can look at a single mother, watch how her child dresses, and that tells me the type of guy that she's attracted to by looking at her son. And now I can't tell you about the fathers, but I will tell you, I told a good friend of mine who had his daughter, I said, listen, whoever you're dating, make sure you don't mind your daughter becoming that, because daughters want to please their dads. So if this is what you like, guess what? Okay, so I'm going to start dressing like that because I know my dad likes that and he brought it around me, so it's okay. Those are things that you definitely have to look at. I did know somebody recently, and that's why I brought that up and asked you that question. What's your thoughts about parents holding their children as pawns? And I just felt like you just telling your child that you make bad decisions. And don't be sleeping with everybody and bringing them to the house. If you kicking it with somebody, kick it with them outside, because if you bring a different guy to the house, you are teaching your son that it's okay to lay up over somebody else's child. That's just it. You know what I mean? Right. And for the daughter, you bring different women in and out, the daughter's gonna think it's okay for her to sleep with whoever. And
so, you know, hey, let me ask you this, Mel. Do you think all that you just mentioned, could that possibly be a sign or a form or a symptom of a mental illness?
It could, I wouldn't say a mental illness, but it shows that there is an underlying issue and you're looking for attention. From what I mentioned, if you use your child as a pawn, it's like, okay, well, I have this child, I finally got somebody. And you know, when you deal with people that have like drama, you're like, oh, they just love drama. They love attention, good or bad. Good or bad. And you have to think back like, oh, okay, was this person, let me see. how were they in school? Were they outside? You know, back in the day, it was somebody sitting out in the hallway at one desk. Now everybody everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, one bad child sitting out. Now it's just all over the place. But it could potentially be some underlying issues, some depression issues, or finally somebody loves me. And now I get to be that person. But the problem is you're messing your children up. And I ain't trying to get jacked up and robbed and hit over the head when I get old. So I'm gonna need you to do right. Do you think that a female can raise a son?
Oh yeah, this one of my favorite topics here. Let me jump in real quick. Yes, I was raised by two women, my mom and my grandmother. I had male influences, but I was under the nurture and guidance of those two females. Okay. A lot of people, when they say that a male or a female or a mom can't raise a son, and when you look in the community, it's more single parent homes, and the mother is actually doing the raising. And I'm like, what do you mean? They've been doing it. Somebody might come along and say, well, that's the problem. That's why these young boys is off the hook, because ain't no dad in the house.
Ain't no dad in the house because the police killing them.
True that.
Go ahead, though.
True that. So look, I know from experience and from facts that a female, a mama, a woman can raise a man, can raise a boy into a man. There's no question about it. I stand firm on that. Anybody want to argue, you know, I will have to hear their case, and they're going to hear my case, because we need to stop saying that.
Who potty trained you?
Oh man, I don't remember back there for.
Okay. How do you pee standing up or sitting down?
Stand up and sit down.
Okay. You pee and
that sounds crazy.
Too?
Well, you know, when you go number two, what I'm going to stand up and then sit down.
Okay, that's different. But when you have to urinate, who taught you how to stand up and pee?
Okay, well, guess what?
What you do?
Guess what? Since you know, my pops wasn't in my life at that age, I do remember that. Mm-hmm. Say it was my mom. Period. So wait. So is that what people think, that a female can't teach a male how to stand up and go pee? All you do is stand and go pee.
Listen, I don't want to do that, because let me say this. And I want the listening audience. Look, see what I'm saying? I always miss calls because I be so engrossed in the conversation. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Here's the thing. Being married, and my husband was in my life. Then when you get divorced, guess what? I end up becoming a single parent. Now, I didn't have that part because he was there. But I don't know if I've been like, okay, stand up. Like, I don't know what goes on.
Mel.
Like, wait, no, you said when you sit down, you pee sitting down if you do a number two. I wouldn't have known that. It'd probably be pee all over the place. Because
Lord have mercy. Ain't nobody got time for that. Stand up, sit down. Stand up, sit down. No, we're gonna do this all in one sitting. Hold on now.
Okay.
It's all good. No. And then, you know, for the fellas out there that might be like, man, hold on, dude, you sit down to pee, man. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about, man. So don't get no ideas like I ain't. Don't even go there with me. I stand up, but you know, god dang it, when it's time to sit down, I sit down too. Like, I ain't gonna stand up and sit down. Like, it's just, Mel, it's one sitting. It comes in one package.
I see, that's something that I can't teach because I didn't. That's why I'm like, well, how did you know? Like, I don't know.
Instinct. It's instinct. There's really nothing to be taught.
You sure you be sitting there, Lord, you be like, now sit on the toilet. Why is piss coming down my wall? Like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff that you just don't think about.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna tell you,
funny.
Prime example, friend of mine, and I knew because my son was older. She kept we on the phone talking, and she was like, "What?" And she was like, "Why can't I find the lotion?" Then we go through lotion. She got 3 boys. She was.
Oh my goodness.
She said, "I just bought a bottle. We going through lotion." Listen, I had to laugh because hers is younger than mine. I've been through that. Man. So I went through that. You know, you be sitting there and find lotion bottles under the bed, like what?
Oh no, the ashy. It's just ashy. That's it. The knees. You gotta get the knees and them elbows.
So as a female, you know, you just don't, she didn't even know. And that's what was so funny, because she's like, I just bought that family size lotion. She had no idea.
Damn.
And I had to tell her.
Family size. Hold on.
Right, but she had 3 sons. And they're like stair step. Man, I laughed so hard because I was like,
yeah,
let me tell you,
silly.
This is what's going on. She was like, oh my gosh. And at that moment, that's when, as a mother, you're like, you got your own laundry. You got your
own. My goodness.
You know?
What? Damn. That is too funny. Yeah, you got your own. Even as a father, like, hold on, dude. Like, hold on, man. You know what? You're going to have to start buying your own lotion, man, because damn, dude, what's going on? It don't take that much.
And
oh, my goodness.
And, you know, you keep the lotion in the bathroom. It's like community lotion. Yeah, you're like, okay. And I wouldn't, she gonna kill me, but listen, my daughter was really young, and she said to me the one time, I was like, she's like, can I use your bathroom? I was like, why? Use the bathroom. Then she, this is how, he gonna be mad, but anyway, she was like, he gonna be in there a long time. I said, huh? She's like, yeah, he went in there with that book, and when he go in there with that book, he be in there a long time. She was like,
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, man.
So I'm growing up with mine, you know. I was like, a book? Hold on. Now, barbershop. Look, she just came in, she just shook her head. Barbershop. So my brother worked at the barbershop and he couldn't figure out what was happening to all the magazines. I was sending my child to go get his hair cut, but I guess he was still in the magazines. I didn't know they had those magazines in the barbershop.
Oh, no.
Man, so
that's silly.
I was learning. That's why I had to ask you, like, can a female raise a man? But I'm glad you did state that you were raised by your mom and your grandma, because there's a lot of people who think that now men, you know, they were like, oh, there's no man in the house, that's why they're gay. And I know a lot
of, man, hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Because I know a lot of men who were raised by females and they're not gay. But go ahead.
Exactly. So look, I'm gonna get on this real quick. This is my perspective on gay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think what's going on is this is more of a DNA or a hormonal issue. Okay. When you're having hormones imbalance. And what I mean by that is you can have too much estrogen or you can have too much testosterone, which throws the body off. Okay. Mm-hmm. Example, what happens when you have a person who is born a hermaphrodite and they got both organs, both male and female? What is that? I don't think they chose that. I don't think they, oh, damn. Hey, look, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna let you speak on that.
A safe good time.
Hey, no, but look, you said a safe good time. I feel you. Hey, listen, no. So I think that, you know, the whole gay issue, everybody's kind of looking at it like they chose to be that way or they were raised to be that way. In some instances, in some cases, that probably was a factor. But nobody has really thought about what about this from a hormonal issue. So if somebody wants to have a sex change, what do? They give them one or more of the hormone. So if you want to become a female, they give you more what? Estrogen. Mm-hmm. And that does something chemically through the body. If you want to become a male, they give the female more testosterone. She starts to grow hair in places and, you know, facial hair and stuff like that. So it's got to deal with hormones. Okay. I don't think, who teaches you how to be gay? How do you teach that? What influences a person, you know, because you can see that in a child when they're young. They have these ways where it's like, you know, you don't see a lot of masculinity, or you might see too much femininity in a child, in one particular child. Like, I don't think nobody is teaching them how to do that. I think it's a hormonal imbalance. And we're not looking at it from the scientific aspect. We're looking at it like, oh, it's a sin. Oh, you choosing to be with a man with a man. Like, I don't really know if they're really choosing that. Now, in some instances, you do have those people that have both tendencies. They don't mind going with one or the other. And I think that's an imbalance as well.
I think that's,
you know what I mean? So what's that?
I said, I think that's greedy. They just like everything.
Yeah, that could be possibly. Right. That could be it too. But, you know, when you're looking at it from that point, you know, I don't got no problem with gay people. You know what I mean? I never really had. You know, I used to, when I was younger, I would look at it like, man, what's going on? You know, but I never made it an issue. I didn't pick with a person for that reason, you know?
And you know what? I respect that. And you're right. I told you, you used to be like, your wheels would be turning. You'd be like, want to dig a little deeper. You know, like,
excuse me.
I'll accept you. I accept everybody, but wonder what else is going on. And that's how I am. So tell me, what do you think about this comment? Mothers, if you are raising your child, a male child, stop walking around in your panties and underwear because they may not get turned on when they become an adult.
That's kind of deep. I'm just going to say, out of the decency of your child, don't be walking around like that, period, point blank. It's just, it's a decency thing. You know what I mean? Like, man.
Now,
but guess what? On the flip side, what if you're at the beach and they got on bathing suits? Then what?
Now, you know,
what's the difference between walking around in your panties and walking around in a one-piece bathing suit?
Or
you got to be careful with some of the things you think, because
you look at the mother and you like, oh, that's just my mom, and then you might look at somebody else, but like, that's attractive. But a guy, he said that, and I thought it was. I said, that's interesting. I said, that's really interesting to have that thought. Like, okay, being raised with women, and you know, women being women, you like a little boy, and then all of a sudden you grow up. We still got you as a little boy, and this man, he was an older guy. He was like 60 when he said it. And he said, you have to stop walking around. And it was our conversation, walking around in your underclothes in front of your male child, because if he looks at you. And
wait. So he was implying that that's what makes a child want to be gay or possibly get turned.
Possibly turned, not being attracted
to gay.
Not being attracted to women, because they all have sexual urges when you're young and they experiment. That's what he said. He told me. And he said, and if that, you know, you see your mom like that, that doesn't turn you on. So when you get older, you won't be turned on because you'll be thinking of your first, you know, experience with a panty and bra set with your mother walking around. You think that has
anything's possible, but the likelihood of that, right? That's kind of iffy. I mean, anything's possible. There's a scenario for every situation. So I'm not going to say that, you know, but that's very low. That's very low on the scales of, you know, turning somebody to make them feel like they don't want to look at women because I seen my mom walk around in her bra and panties. Like, man, what the hell? No.
You remind me
of my mother.
Now, what if a guy get called talking about something? You remind me of my mother. I'm like, gross. Like, you're not,
man, get up out of here with that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
You're like, my mother got that set. Like,
no. Oh man. Yeah.
I thought there was some validity to that. You know.
You think so?
I think it might be, but then no. As time went on and talking to a few of my gay friends, they were saying the same thing, that, you know, that they knew when they were younger that they were gay. Prime example, little boy, 6 years old, we get ready to go out, me and my cousin, and her neighbor was there. And this little boy, 6 years old, now, see, he walked, you know, you have like the full length mirrors for the listening audience. You can't see me, but you guys will be able to go to YouTube and see me later. You know, the full length mirror, that little boy, I will never forget. I was shocked because, you know, I don't like waiting all day. So I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take for you to get ready? Because after 10, if we don't leave by 10, I'm not going. And that little boy walked to the mirror and he was like, my butt look good in these. He turned around and he was like, in these. And that's what I remember. So when the man said that, I thought back to that incident and I said, okay, so he needs to be around men because maybe that's what his mom says. Then I seen where my child didn't get along well with him. He was like, oh my gosh. He was like, go get the ball. He come down with my daughter's ball. And then my son gets upset. He was like, that's my sister's ball, not that ball, the football. That was signed too. Then, so they both were 6, okay? Then my son ended up going to camp and he sees him again. And he's like, oh my gosh. You know, they just didn't click. I said, well, what is wrong? He was like, we're supposed to be out there doing, it was like a military type camp thingy that they had a program going. And you know, you do the obstacle course, you got the tires to run through. I'm telling him to come on. He over there drawing pictures of dresses.
Oh.
So
oh yeah.
That would be one that was born that way. My son couldn't understand because they were younger. But my son is looking at, boy, we supposed to like this. Like, what do you mean? So he didn't,
Mel,
huh?
How do you okay, you just said something, born that way. When people say that, or when you say that, what exactly do you mean by being born that way? Is that a birth defect?
And I would say born, like you were saying, more estrogen, more testosterone. I just think there's some type of chemical imbalance. And I won't say like a defect because.
So watch this. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Chemical imbalance. So if we were to see a child showing those signs at that age, do you think it would be appropriate or safe to take that child to the doctor to have them evaluated for a hormonal imbalance? And if they were imbalanced, showing signs of being more masculine or more feminine, do we inject them with hormones?
Now, that's a good question. I would say no. Let me finish the story, and I'm going with that.
Okay.
The moral of the story that I was saying that he was probably born that way, and my son knew him. As they are older, they like 25, 26, somewhere around there. And I told, I was with my son and I said, look, he said, who's that? Because he's full-fledged female now. And I told him who he was. It was so heartwarming because he's looking like a total female. My son is still like, what's up, man? Boom. And, just say,
what up, dude?
Right. And all the, all the exterior he didn't see. And they were just sitting there laughing, talking, catching up, boom, boom, boom. And they were just so happy to see each other. And my son, I was so pleased because all of this was all women, all woman, and people that knew, they knew. And my son is like, boom. But my son saw who he is inside and know him. You know what I mean? So he was like, what up? Boom, like nothing, da-da-da-da. And I started laughing and I said his name now. My son's like, nah, that's so. He like, yeah, I ain't calling him that. I'm calling him who I knew, And that's how I was when my son came in town. And I just thought that was really, really cool. Now, no, I don't. You let children develop. You let them develop. You don't have a child, and this is just my opinion. You don't sit there and make a child be what they're, and air quotes I'm using, supposed to be, if that makes sense. You allow them to be themselves because nobody's a cookie cutter. You have we're all different. I don't believe in medicating children anyway. As far as like to keep them still in school, ADHD, all of that, because you got a whole nother show coming on. See what I'm saying?
Right.
You medicating them to sit still and pay attention. but you're not medicating them to think the way that they, air quotes, supposed to think. So you got a point. Man, we got gaming shows coming up.
Yeah. Sure.
That's crazy though. That's a good point. And no, should you inject them with, that's interesting.
Okay, because look, real quick too. How many times have we heard somebody say they putting hormones or they putting some crap in the chicken, and that's why these girls is developing sooner than they supposed to? So it's in the foods as well. How many times have we heard that soy raises the estrogen level in males and females? This is something that's going around in in the food world, where they're talking about soy. What's his name? George Washington Carver. He was flipped the peanut like 300 ways, but he also did a study on soy.
Yes.
And he was talking about how soy actually increases the hormones. So could it be possibly that the mother is getting too much soy, and when she's going through the birthing process, her over amounts of soy that she probably don't even notice in the food is going into the creation of her child? And sometimes the child may come out emotional or hormonally imbalanced. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what?
I mean, this get deep, man.
You got a point, because guess what? As a mother and carrying, they don't want you to be depressed, because your child may come out being depressed. So there's some validity to that.
That's the spiritual aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
That's the spiritual aspect. The depression is you can't see depression from a state of mind. You can only see depression expressed through the body and the feelings, and people wear the emotions on their sleeves. You know what I mean? So now we're going into the whole mental aspect of it. You know what I mean? So man, it's a tough subject to really get some points expressed on it. You know what I mean? So, woo, yeah. We'll be talking for another whole.
I'm looking at I missed another call. Sorry.
You gonna get in trouble missing them calls, man.
Listen, being in the studio before I had other people with this whole COVID. It's like it's me. It's like, okay, like, and you see me going over here trying to do.
Yeah.
I miss my people. I miss my people, because they really helped me. All right, listen, let me go ahead and get this out here. If you are a racist, please contact me.
Please
come on the show.
And look, don't be. We're not going to fight. Ain't nobody gonna be throwing no chairs. This ain't the Geraldo show. Ain't nobody. We just want to get some perspectives put on the table so we can try to get off this race crap, if there is a possibility that we can. I want to know why you hate. Why simple.
What's the issue? You are absolutely right. And that's it in a nutshell. The clear and uncut conversation. That's what the show is about. Let's go ahead and get it done. So if you are a racist, or someone in your family is a racist, and you want to speak on their behalf without naming them, because I ain't got nothing to give you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't be talking about you coming after me. Don't even waste your time.
Right.
Contact me. You can catch us on all socials at Shop Talk with Mel. Brown Skin every Monday at 4 p.m. Shop Talk with Mel every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The Reset, which is all hip hop, the education of hip hop, on Wednesdays. That's called The Reset, with Rain and Remixx. So tune in. Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker.com, everywhere. It's all listed for you lovely people. And on all socials. All right. And on all socials. Please. I appreciate it. All right. Speak if you will, but please say something. You're listening to Brown Skin. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always love you. You'll catch me and say it.
Kheru.
There you go. Oh, see, that sounds sweet. I'm just like Kheru. Where you from? Youngstown. Catch us on my Listen, definitely do that. Also, what else? If you are a brown skinned guy who dates white women, contact me. All right, because we're gonna do a panel. And if you are a male who was raised by females who are straight, contact us. We got to come on and we kick it on brown skin. All right, again, last time I promise you, find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people, you're listening to Brown Skin.